Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the DAC speaking. I had to do this video because it came to my knowledge that Californians voted in a proposition to amend the Constitution of California by defining marriage in terms of contract between man and female. This specifically aimed at reversing a court decision that has deemed it unconstitutional to not allow same-sex couples the same treatment under law than heterosexual or different sex marriages. As we all know by now, this proposal got passed, this meaning the yes won, and the yes meant that the Constitution will be amended, and this will make it impossible, at least for an indeterminate amount of time, that may be many years, even decades, for people of the same sex to marry. And I would just like to leave it on record that I am very much shocked by this decision of the American people. Maybe not the entire American people, the Californian people. I don't see no usefulness to make a distinction there. For what I know, only Massachusetts allows for same-sex marriages. Maybe I'm not correct. If I'm not, please put it on comment. But I find it amazing that so many Americans in the supposedly most advanced nation in the world are so stupid, plain old stupid, evil, even. They have no notion of morality, and they resort to the lowest of tactics, namely using children as shields for their rhetoric. I would just like to say pretty, easy to grasp things. If marriage was to be just between a woman and a man, with the purpose of having kids, don't you think that infertile people would not be allowed to marry? I mean, if marriage has the object of marriage is to have kids, people that cannot have kids would never be allowed to marry. But they are. Doesn't this prove that marriage is not about having kids, necessarily? Yes, it does. What about people that freely choose not to procreate? They would not be. Either they would not be able to get married, or marriage would have this written prescription, this where people that get married would assume the obligation to procreate. And as far as I know, there is no obligation assumed by people who get married to procreate. So why would people even use procreation as an argument for the exclusivity of different sex marriage? I simply don't get it. It's preposterous. Why don't we start thinking about marriage in a more celebratory manner? I may personally not see the usefulness of marriage. Maybe I don't. Maybe I see it as a statist institution. Maybe I don't really see value in getting married. Don't you have already the same rights as a domestic partnership? If you don't, put it in the comments for me to know. I like to know the truth. I like to spread the truth. But as far as I know, there's basically, or exactly, the same rights. You don't even have to get married to enjoy the same rights. Well, maybe not. Maybe that's not the case. Can you adopt without being married? And that leads us to maybe what's at stake here. Maybe people, the very same people that denied gays and lesbians the right to marry each other, are doing it not because of the marriage itself, but because marriage would grant them the right to adopt children. And I could do another video about adoption. I really don't see how your sexual orientation makes you unfit for parenting. I thought that had to do much more with what we call a calling. It's a calling? A vocation? I don't know if you have the word vocation. But it's something that certain people have. That deep desire and feeling of competence even. They feel that they could do a good job and they really want that job of parent. I personally don't. I may in the future, I don't know. Hope not. But anyway, that's besides the point. It should be about vocation. It should be about competence. It should not be about who you feel physically attracted to, should it? And where's the scientific study that relate who you're raised by and your sexual orientation? If it was true that having a certain guiding sexual orientation by your parents makes you assume that same sexual orientation, then gays would not exist. Because gay people come from heterosexual relationships, don't they? You still need a man and a woman to produce a baby, so there would be no gays whatsoever. Because they were raised by heterosexual people. That's not the case, is it? So assuming that a person that is raised by homosexuals is going to turn out to be homosexual is totally preposterous. Totally preposterous. But I tend to think that the factor with the most weight is precisely the fear that the adoption right would be granted if they would allow for gay people to get married. That is sad. It's really backwards thinking. And I hope someday you guys, you Americans, can really put your heads together and understand how you're hurting people that have absolutely no danger factor to your lives. So I had to leave this on record. I'm deeply saddened by what happened in California, and best luck to all liberty-loving people.
You can't touch this. You can't touch this.